Prior authorization was intended to be a reasonable cost control checkpoint. Now it is a daily battle that drains revenue before you even submit a claim. The volume is what breaks the system. On average, a medical practice completes 39 prior authorization requests per physician every week, consuming a full 13 hours of dedicated staff time. And 82% see patients abandon recommended treatments because the authorization process is too slow. Maintaining this specific paperwork burden in-house directly degrades the quality of care your practice can deliver. To keep up with this volume, administrators fall into a staffing spiral, hiring people to handle the paperwork only to see them overwhelmed as requirements grow. This line graph maps the result of that spiral. Between 2019 and 2024, practice spending on prior authorization staffing climbed an alarming 43%. That dramatic cost increase is entirely dedicated to funding a process that generates zero clinical revenue. Relying on a traditional labor model means dealing with a 40% annual turnover rate for front office staff. Every time an employee leaves, your institutional knowledge walks out the door. The endpoint of this cycle is stark. 40% of physicians now have staff working exclusively on authorizations rather than tasks that grow the practice. Trying to out-hire the volume of payer paperwork is an unwinnable financial battle that only compresses your margins. Generalist staff struggle because every payer has different requirements, every specialty has unique codes, and those rules change constantly. When clinical documentation is incomplete or fails to match payer-specific matrices, you get a denial. Missing information on the initial submission is the #1 cause of these rejections. Every mistake carries a direct financial penalty. It costs an average of $25 just to rework a single denied claim. After a denial, a small fraction moves to rework, incurring a $25 penalty. A massive 50 to 65% drop into a lost revenue bucket, never reworked. This traps staff in an exhausting cycle. Submit, denied, rework, resubmit, all while patients wait. Generalist administrative staff cannot scale against payer complexity, guaranteeing high denial rates and wasted labor hours. To bypass this bottleneck, smart practices are replacing in-house generalists with dedicated external prior authorization specialists. Instead of standard front desk hires, models like Staffingly utilize healthcare-trained professionals, medical doctors, PharmDs, and registered nurses to manage your submissions. This specialized team ensures complete clinical documentation is pre-checked against payer-specific matrices before the first submission goes out. They also execute proactive follow-up timelines, eliminating the hours your internal staff spend waiting on hold with insurance companies. Outsourcing transforms authorization from a reactive guessing game into a predictable, standardized clinical workflow. Human expertise is now being reinforced by AI pre-submission review. The AI is trained on payer-specific rules and historical denial patterns to catch modifier errors and authorization gaps before a request ever leaves the building. This gauge illustrates the outcome. The AI-assisted workflow targets a 97 to 98% first-pass accuracy rate. Getting the submission right the first time eliminates the $25 rework penalty entirely. All of this technological verification happens within a secure framework, utilizing encrypted VPNs and SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. Pairing human clinical expertise with AI precision ends the submission rework doom loop once and for all. Practice administrators face an objective choice: continue funding the escalating in-house status quo, or adapt to the modern specialist outsourcing baseline. This matrix shows the direct financial difference. In-house staff overhead costs $30 to $45 per hour, compared to $8 for the Staffingly model. That 70% reduction goes beyond payroll, eliminating hidden costs of taxes, benefits, and constant turnover retraining. There is an operational trade-off. The practice must surrender physical, in-office control of the authorization process to an external, digitized vendor. However, you regain operational visibility through real-time tracking dashboards that provide instant status updates on pending, approved, and denied authorizations across all payers. The illusion of physical control in-house costs your practice 70% more, while delivering slower results for your patients. The final hesitation is usually the fear of operational disruption or the headache of transitioning vendors. The onboarding reality is highly efficient. The entire practice is fully onboarded and operational within a 2-week window. Practices start with a 2-week pilot program, requiring no upfront commitment and no long-term contracts. Administrators utilizing this model consistently report that the Staffingly system allows their clinical team to regain their energy and focus. This efficiency restores 13 hours of clinical capacity to every physician every single week. Evaluate your own staffing spiral. It is time to start your 2-week pilot program and finally cure your prior authorization crisis.